Hello, welcome to Mondays with Mira. I'm Dr. Mira Reisberg and I'm really excited to be back with you to do first seduction, then deconstruction. I'm going to read it first. It's a little on the long side, so I'll try and read it quickly. So, here it is. It's called Abe Lincoln Crosses a Creek, a tall, thin tale, introducing his forgotten frontier friend. Deborah, written by Deborah Hopkinson and illustrated by John Hendrix. And they make a terrific team. So right off the bat, here it is. We've got our end sheets that hold the book together, and they're printed, and here it says, "Oh dear." So that's kind of setting us up to enter the book. Now here's an old tale of two boys who got themselves into more trouble than bear cubs in a candy store. I like it so well, I've asked my friend John to help out by drawing some pictures. All stories have a time and place, and this one's no different. It happened on the other side of yesterday, before computers or cars in the year 1816. This green Kentucky valley is our place. Don't you feel like sticking your toes into that rushing water? That's Knob Creek. And the language is kind of inviting me to try and do this with a southern accent, so I'll give it a try. Life was hard for many folks then, especially those in slavery. And in just a few years, all the cares of America would fall on the shoulders of one tall, thin man. But in 1816, he's only 7. Here he is fetching wood for his mother. All spring he's been helping his father plant corn and pumpkins. Look now, he's stopping to watch a wagon rumble by. I dare say you guess his name. Abraham Lincoln. He'll grow up to become our 16th president. There's another boy here, too, sitting on that rock waiting for Abe. That's Benjamin Austin Gollaher. Austin for short. Now I can just hear you grumbling. Who? That fella isn't in my history book. What do I care? Well, Austin is Abe's first friend. He's 3 years older and as proud of Abe as a big brother. Abe's legs were long, his arms were long, why even his ears were long, Austin would say later. And when it came to being smart, he was way under ahead of me. All right, that's what we need to begin. A time, a place, and our characters. 2 boys named Austin and Abe. Now where were we? Oh, I know. Austin's just waved at his friend, remember? "Hello there, Austin," Abe calls out. "Yesterday I saw some partridges over by Knob Creek. Let's go find them." "Don't go too near the creek," warns Abe's mom and Nancy. "It's been raining something fierce and the water's high." "We won't, ma'am," Austin and Abe chime together. Then they scurry directly there, wearing nothing but long homespun shirts. Here's Knob Creek. Its water's rushing through the limestone rock into a dark, deep pool. I'd be scared to cross, wouldn't you? But Abe points to the other side of the creek. "Let's go, Austin. That's where I saw the partridges." Abe's only thinking about birds, not about the raging water before him. After all, he's only 7. Not a great leader yet with the Union to save. Why, he's barely learned his letters. "I don't know, Abe. The water's darn high," Austin frowns, "and we can't swim." "We can get across that log easy," says Abe with a plucky grin. "I dare you." "I made it!" Let's all clap together. Austin made it. Austin turns back to look for his friend. "Uh-oh, I sense trouble coming, don't you?" Abe takes a big breath and begins. His feet are slippery. The log is slippery. He inches across. Here comes that big, mighty, scary part where if this were a movie, the music would get rumbly and you might cover your eyes. Abe looks down at the water swirling and spinning. Suddenly he's dizzy. Alas, alack, oh dear, he's head over heels, and then splash. Hold on 1 minute. I want to be sure we get this right, because maybe it didn't happen like that. I mean, would Abe and Austin really have walked across a log over that whirlpool? They weren't that foolish. No, I'm almost sure those boys would have crawled. So let's try again. Now then, Austin stoops down, puts both hands on the log. He holds on tight. Bit by bit, he pulls himself across to the other side. How about we give him some encouragement? Yee-haw! Come on, a little louder. Whoop! Hooray! Austin is safe. Your turn, Abe, Austin says, squishing his toes in the mud. I'm afraid this isn't much better. Look, Abe's in trouble from the start. His stomach feels queasy. His head's all a whir. He gets halfway, he's stuck. Don't look down, nor up, nor sideways, Austin hollers. Can Abe even hear Austin above all the racket? John, could you please stop painting that noisy water? Just look at me and hold on tight, Austin yells louder. But Abe can't help looking down. He loses his grip and then, alas, alack, oh dear, he's head over heels and then splash. Wait, where's Austin? Now, John, don't let him wander off to chase the partridge, not at the most important moment of his life. Whew, there he is. He must have been there all along because he was Austin, Abe's first friend, loyal and true till the day he died. What's that you're saying? Abe's still in the water while I'm rambling on? His head went under it again? Wait, I'm trying to remember what happens next. I'm pretty sure Austin doesn't say, "Don't worry, Abe, I'll save you, 'cause I know you're on Earth for a great purpose." And I don't expect Abe to sputter back, "Stop yapping and help." No, I think Austin just leaps into action. Or maybe he uses a sycamore branch or a fishing pole. We'll let John decide which sketch to paint, for that's the thing about history. If you weren't there, you can't know for sure. Abe's on hand at last, but he looks almost dead. Austin pounds him until so much water pours out of his mouth it about makes a lake. For a long time, Abe is still as Austin's heart. At last, Abe coughs. He opens his eyes and smiles up at his friend. "What a relief! I thought you were a goner," Austin says. "I'm mighty grateful," Abe whispers, his throat raw from swallowing half the creek. "Better not tell anyone," Austin says, "or we'll get a whooping." "I won't, but I'll never forget it," Abe promises. "Not as long as I live." Then they stretch out on the rocks and bake in the sun till they're dry. We could end our tale here, two happy friends in the sunshine long ago. But I expect you want to know what happens next. Not long after, the Lincolns moved to Indiana. In time, Abe goes to the White House. Whoa, hold on a minute. I'm afraid you got it wrong. Austin wasn't there at the president's side. Put him back by Knob Creek, where he belongs, raising a family, riding a mule through the woods, telling stories of his first great friend till he dies at the ripe old age of 92, at long last, resting under a gravestone that reads, Lincoln's Playmate. For the truth is, Abe and Austin never do meet again. But like he promised, Abe doesn't forget Austin. And one dark day, in the midst of the Civil War, or so the story goes, Abe will be heard to say he'd rather see Austin Gollaher again than any other living man. I like to think that's true. Don't you? Now we're coming to the last page. About all that's left is to remind you of the moral of our story. Listen to your mother and don't go anywhere near any swollen creeks. What? Oh, you don't think that's really the point? A mite weak, perhaps, like Abe, a bit thin? Then how about this? Remember, Austin Gollaher, because what we do matters, even if we don't end up in history books. Yes, let's remember Austin Gollaher, who one day long ago, when no one else was there to see, saved Abraham Lincoln's life. And without Abraham Lincoln, where would we be? But that's a story for another day. because ours at last is done. And I forgot to read at the very beginning the author's note. I'm not going to read this, but always read the author's note. It comes in very handy, especially if you're a teacher, because lots of lesson plans that you can develop when you're using those. So I'm just going to talk about why this is a postmodern book, what it does. It has a very distinctive voice. Remember when I started and it just really was like, I got to do this in a southern accent, I'm sorry, or thereabouts, as well as this Australian woman can do. The other thing, though, I did get confused when, and what is it called? There's a term where you're breaking the fifth wall? Where the narrator steps out of character and addresses the audience directly. And that's a very postmodern device, even though it's been used before postmodernism. The other thing that they do in this book is they do what's called a meta-narrative, where the author and the illustrator are discussing their, and you could also call it a second story or a subtext. So you generally have, one story, and there's a story beginning, middle, and end. But this keeps chopping it up, which is a very postmodern device. And so it chops it up by speaking to the audience directly, and it also chops it out by having the author speak to the illustrator. Real story, and then jumping into the conversation between the author and illustrator. So it kind of has this meta story of talking about how picture books are made. It's not just the book itself, but it's how a book is and the conversations that go on. Normally, the author and the illustrator do not have any contact with each other. Usually it's a really good thing. But this author and illustrator were good friends by the sounds of it, so they were able to do it. But that's quite unusual. It's usually the publisher's job to find the illustrator. Yeah, just very, very clever. And it's not even, and the illustrator's brilliant. I just absolutely love these are watercolors and this and ink. And they're so skillfully done. They've got the old-timey look by having like the line work that you see in classic, wood graving. So it looks more like a wood graving, but it also has a very contemporary look because, as I mentioned, it's a postmodern book. And so the illustrator doesn't just have this side color, this side black and white. He breaks it up. John Hendrix. Love you, John Hendrix, wherever you are. And also love Deborah Hopkinson's too, because it's just terrific. So we've got this strong diagonal, and diagonals are always really exciting in art. And then the black and white is just encroaching into here, or spilling out of it, whichever way you want to look at it. So there's just lots to learn from a book like this by reading it and studying it and looking at the tiny things. Another thing that I really like about the illustrations is the color palette. Very limited color palette. Some muted reds, browns, greens and blue. And a little bit of raw sienna. And that's about it. The landscape format is perfect for this because it's a story that's also about land and this little place in Kentucky that's very, very, wilderness. In terms of language, now stopping to watch a wagon rumble by. Just say you've guessed his name, Abraham Lincoln. He'll grow up to become our 16th president. And then, so they're really engaging the audience. And that's what you want to do as a children's picture book writer. You want to grab your audience and just hook them right in. And then they end with a question, which is nice. I like to think that's true, don't you? Just an all-round terrific, terrific book. I could obviously spend hours talking about this book, but I'm trying to keep the time down on these videos. And I hope you love this book as much as I do. Love my books. Thank you.